Though surprised by Darlene's declaration of divorce, Jeff wasn't completely blindsided. 2 decades of marriage had passed, but Darlene's recent reliance on her friend and self-proclaimed marital guru, Miranda, hadn't gone unnoticed. Miranda's supposed wisdom came from her 3 failed marriages. "Darlene, I acknowledge your desire for a divorce," Jeff responded, "but this is a weighty decision deserving of careful consideration. I've strived to be a devoted husband and father, and I'm uncertain what's prompted this. You haven't indicated any dissatisfaction with our intimacy, so I'm at a loss. Hearing you say this, though painful, leads me to believe I can't stand in the way of your happiness, even if it means ending our marriage. Has this been a recent development, or has this been building up?" Darlene explained. "It's been a gradual process. I need breathing room, a chance to explore different paths and meet new people." She continued, "From what I understand, the courts require a 90-day legal separation after the paperwork is signed. It's possible I might reconsider and decide to stay married. We might not have to finalize the divorce." Jeff reflected, "That aligns with what I've heard from others navigating divorce. During that 90-day period, we're both permitted to see other people without it being infidelity. However, to stop the divorce, we both need to agree. Either one of us can choose to continue with it regardless of the other's wishes." He sensed Darlene hadn't realized he had the same liberty. "I was under the impression that whoever files first has the final say on whether the divorce proceeds. I don't believe that's equitable," Darlene countered hesitantly. Jeff pressed the point. "To ensure fairness, I'll also file." "Does that seem reasonable?" Darlene stammered, I suppose. "Are you saying you want a divorce?" "I believed I was being a good husband, father, and partner," he replied. "No, I don't want a divorce, but I won't hinder your pursuit of happiness, Darlene. I never suggested you were lacking in any way. You've been an exceptional wife, mother, and partner. I understand your need for new experiences and connections. Perhaps it will bring you contentment. The legal separation will provide you with that opportunity." He paused, then added, "The very fact that you need more than I can give underscores my inadequacies." After a short silence, he asked, "Have you consulted an attorney and prepared the paperwork?" Dismissing his earlier sentiment, Darlene replied, "No, I haven't secured the documents yet. I plan to retain Junior Lewis. He handled Miranda's divorces." This confirmed Miranda's influence on Darlene's desire for something more from their marriage. "Well then, I'll likely have my cousin Sally manage my side of the proceedings." "Sally? She's a real piece of work, you know." "I know you're not fond of Sally, but she's a good person at heart. Her tough demeanor comes from her profession. She's a formidable advocate for her clients, regardless of their gender." Funny enough, after the last family get-together, maybe fueled by a few too many cocktails, she offered to represent me pro bono if I ever needed a divorce lawyer. "Wow," Darlene responded. Jeff continued, "We need to discuss logistics. I propose you use the next 2 weeks to get your affairs in order so we can commence the separation on the 1st of next month." "That works, but I'm not clear why we need to do anything before the separation officially begins," Darlene replied. "The separation," Jeff clarified, "is meant to give us a taste of post-divorce life, to help us determine if this is truly what we want. It should be a trial run, so to speak. Otherwise, we might not have a clear understanding until the divorce is finalized, which could be complicated. Does that resonate with you?" "Perhaps. I hadn't really considered that." Darlene's conviction seemed to falter slightly. "How about we go to the kitchen, get a notepad, and start listing everything we need to address? I'll make some coffee." With that, Jeff rose and went to the kitchen, leaving Darlene to contemplate the situation. Upon arriving, Darlene found the coffee brewing and Jeff already making notes. "Right," Jeff began. "There's so much to consider. It's difficult to know where to start. I think we should begin with the girls. We need to explain this to them, ensuring we're both on the same page and assuring them that none of this is their fault." Darlene voiced her apprehension about telling their daughters, worried they might not handle the news well, and questioning the necessity of telling them immediately. She suggested waiting the 90 days and perhaps not telling them at all. Jeff disagreed, saying they needed a strategy for answering their daughters' inevitable questions about the separation. He proposed Darlene remain in the house during the separation, maintaining a sense of stability for the children while still allowing for occasional shared time together. Darlene wasn't fully on board, outlining potential issues with the plan. She noted the difficulty of coordinating their separate social lives and the possibility of resentment if one felt pressured to go out while the other didn't. She also stressed the importance of experiencing a genuine post-divorce life and the potential impact on their daughters if they saw them dating other people. They acknowledged the need to inform not only their daughters but also their extended families. They also discussed the need to inform friends and family to avoid any suspicion of infidelity, acknowledging the risk of their children blaming themselves despite reassurances. Consistency in their messaging and expressions of love would be crucial, and they recognized the potential need for professional counseling, though they remained optimistic about their daughter's resilience. Jeff raised the possibility of the girls gaining additional grandparents through new partners, which could translate to more presents for birthdays and Christmas. However, this would require careful coordination of celebrations and holidays. He also stressed the importance of discretion regarding their romantic relationships, suggesting that meeting partners elsewhere would be more appropriate than bringing them home while the children and the other parent were present. The financial ramifications of maintaining two separate households weren't overlooked. Jeff explained that their expenses would inevitably increase, and they would each need to adjust to managing and covering all costs independently. He referenced the standard practice of dividing joint assets equally in divorce proceedings, which would involve closing shared accounts and establishing a child support arrangement. "I understand. There's so much to address before this all begins," Darlene said, sitting in stunned silence, unsure how to respond. Jeff continued, "I'll start searching for an apartment near my work so the girls will have a place to sleep when they stay with me." Typical visitation schedules grant the non-custodial parent every weekend and alternating major holidays, unless otherwise agreed upon by the custodial parent. Darlene expressed surprise that Jeff wasn't dating more frequently, mentioning how much he and their daughters enjoyed their time together with their various activities. Jeff reassured her he would remain actively involved in their lives, but emphasized that Darlene and her potential partner would need to assume some of the responsibilities he currently handled. He noted the potential difficulty of weeknight visits due to school schedules. He also brought up the possibility of helping a new partner's children with homework and extracurriculars, suggesting Darlene might need to reciprocate with her new husband's children. Jeff highlighted logistical hurdles such as managing belongings between two residences and transportation, especially if his new apartment wasn't on a bus route for their school, potentially disrupting their routine. "This isn't how Miranda described it," Darlene thought. "She said my husband would cave at the mere mention of divorce, offering to maintain everything he currently does for the family while allowing me to date freely. I'm losing control of this situation fast." Aloud, she said, "Jeff, I'm overwhelmed. I need to rest. We can talk more tomorrow. I'm going back to bed. You continue." "I apologize, darling, but I need to jot down a few more things before I turn in. You know how my mind works. The more groundwork we lay now, the smoother the transition will be." "Good night, dear." Darlene hardly slept. She needed to consult with Miranda to update her on Jeff's unexpected reaction. Miranda would know what to do next. This thought finally allowed her to drift off. Waking up and noticing Jeff's absence from the bed, she thought, "Oh my God, this fool stayed up all night working on the divorce checklist." But upon entering the kitchen, Jeff wasn't there, only a notepad on the table. Peeking into the guest room, she found her husband fast asleep. Returning to the kitchen, she started breakfast. As she cooked, she glanced at the notepad. Under the heading Liabilities to Change, Jeff had listed tasks like adjusting the mortgage, homeowner's insurance, utilities, gas, water, electric, cable, cell phone plan, garbage service, internet security, car payment, car insurance, health insurance, dental insurance, Amazon Prime, LifeLock membership, Life Flight, and Medevac, among others. This was in addition to the banking changes they had discussed the previous night. The next page contained a breakdown of his anticipated apartment expenses, along with a projected budget highlighting the child support she would require to maintain her and the girls' current lifestyle. The projections showed a deficit of several $100s each month. He also outlined cost-cutting measures, including foregoing his regular Waffle House and Starbucks runs, a prospect she found somewhat amusing. She added her own expenses, like her gym membership, women's group, and dining out more than once a week. He'd even included some of the children's expenses, detailing fees for extracurricular activities, uniforms, and other necessities. The potential impact on the children hadn't factored into her initial divorce plan. On another page, he had listed tasks Darlene would now be responsible for: refueling the car, regular maintenance, arranging for a mechanic or plumber when necessary, calling for HVAC repairs, lawn care, car washing, grocery shopping, and so on. Setting the notepad down, she thought, darn it, why isn't Jeff behaving as expected? Why isn't he giving me what I want? I need to call Miranda before Jeff wakes up. Hello, Miranda? It's Darlene. We have to whisper, Darlene began. Jeff's sleeping. So, how did it go last night? Miranda's voice buzzed with anticipation. Instead of asking how he could change to prevent the divorce, he agreed to it. Then he started listing all the things he does that I'd have to handle if we split. He's planning to rent an apartment and only see the girls on weekends. He insists we have a real separation, living as if we were already divorced, to make an informed decision after 90 days. He doesn't seem fazed by the prospect of divorce at all. What do I do? Listen, you silly girl. He's manipulating you. He's bluffing. There's no way he'll actually sign those papers. It's a pathetic attempt to make you feel more reliant on him than he is on you by pointing out all the little things he does. The truth is, you hold all the cards, the children and his access to intimacy. Those are the only things that will keep him in check. It's all just talk. Don't you worry, soon enough you and Robert will be enjoying each other's company in bed, and you'll still have a husband and a house. I hope you're right, and that Robert is worth all this. Well, Jeff hasn't done anything yet, has he? Stand your ground. At least until you see what he does next. Thank you, Miranda. He's getting up. I have to go. Hey, Jeff, would you like some coffee? Darlene asked nervously. Her husband shuffled to the coffee pot. Drinking coffee late at night isn't a good idea. I barely slept. Why didn't you come to bed? I went for a walk, Jeff replied, but I didn't trust myself. What do you mean, sweetheart? I saw you sleeping, undressed. I became aroused. You're still the most beautiful woman I know. I'm hesitant. I'm worried that making love would just be out of pity to ease your pain about the divorce. I wasn't sure I could resist. Darling, we're still married. I belong to you and no one else, at least until we separate. Can't we act like husband and wife until then? I'm afraid not. I'm more certain than ever that we need to begin acting separated immediately, even though the official separation doesn't start until the 1st. It really started on the 2nd, when you said you were unhappy. It will be difficult for me, but I truly want you to be happy, even if I'm no longer a significant part of your life. Darlene reassured him that separation didn't necessarily mean divorce. She asked him to relax, to give her time to find herself, expressing confidence they would remain married and perhaps even emerge stronger. Jeff expressed skepticism and announced he was taking the day off to handle division-related matters. He explained that Billy would supervise the maintenance crews and outlined logistical arrangements regarding finances and accounts, stressing the need to act swiftly. He also reminded Darlene not to be late for work, as he would be making breakfast for the girls and taking them to school. Later, at work, Robert, a charming colleague, stopped by to flirt. Darlene felt a surge of anxiety, but agreed to discuss enjoying music together sometime soon. Her thoughts drifted from her separation from Jeff to memories of intimate moments with Robert in the elevator. Arriving home, Darlene noticed signs of Jeff's presence throughout the day, providing a sense of emotional relief. She felt prepared to address the financial matters he had outlined. It seemed he was thinking, she has 90 days to explore. We'll stay married. Then I'll figure out how to have a relationship with Robert without getting caught. Sitting at the kitchen table, she reviewed the notepad again. Jeff had added a few more items. However, she also noticed a new list titled Possible Women for Today. It was divided into 2 columns, women who have already expressed interest and women I'd like to know if they're interested. While neither column was long, the names in the first shocked her. One of them was her sister, Erica. Darlene immediately dialed Erica's number. Hello, Dare, Erica answered. How are you? How dare you try to steal my husband? Whoa, slow down, girl, what's this about? Jeff made a list of women who told him they wanted to date him, and your name is on it. I'm not sure about a list, but I may have mentioned to him, after having a few too many, that if he ever wises up and leaves your foolish, ungrateful self, I'd be interested in taking your place. Wait, what's going on? He's showing you a list of women who are interested in him? Are you saying there's trouble in paradise? Did you catch him with someone, or did he catch you? That's beside the point. I told him I needed some space, some time to myself to explore other relationships. Erica cut her off. Yeah, you're looking for something on the side. Who is it, or are there multiple someones? No, I haven't been with anyone yet. Jeff and I are just going through a 90-day separation, and then we'll decide if we want to stay married. Right, Erica said, accusingly. You have someone specific in mind, and I don't care. So you're legally separating? If anyone wants to get with Jeff, you can't stop them. Once you're separated, I'm going after him, and I'll be faithful too. Darlene defended her decision to separate, pointing out it was her initiative, despite her prior praise of Jeff as a husband and provider. Erica criticized Darlene's actions as foolish and naive, given Jeff's qualities as a provider, husband, father, and lover. She urged Darlene to notify her the moment she was free from the marriage and abruptly ended the call. Afterward, Darlene attempted to calm her nerves. It didn't work. Glancing at the list again, she saw Jenny's name. His secretary, a petite, stunningly beautiful single mother, nearly 20 years younger than Jeff. And there she was at the top of the list, indicating her interest in dating her husband, perhaps looking for a provider for herself and her child. 2 other women were listed, one marked with an M next to her name, indicating she was married. The rest were women who worked with Jeff, some of whom Darlene recognized from around town. Though Jeff held a psychology degree, he'd worked as a laborer during college and retained a fondness for the trade, expanding his business to include 3 crews. Darlene suspected he was assessing these women's plumbing skills as well as the state of their plumbing. The 3 unnamed women on the list were simply labeled waitress at Waffle House, barista at Starbucks, and clerk at Walmart. She wondered how many other women found him as appealing as Erica did. She hadn't anticipated him dating during their separation, but now she wondered if he already had someone in mind. Jeff entered the house and saw his wife flipping through the notebook. He had a feeling he knew where this was going. Looks like you wasted no time finding a replacement, huh? My own sister of all people. How could you? Darlene retorted. I was simply catching up on your progress in finding a boyfriend, Jeff replied. What do you mean? I don't have a boyfriend, I just want to explore new relationships. What about Robert Turner? Jeff inquired. How do you know about that? Robert Turner? What's on your agenda today? Jeff deflected. I ran into Sylvia, your boss's secretary, at Walmart during my lunch break. She's a notorious gossip. Don't believe everything she says. He paused. Darlene couldn't resist. What did she say? According to Sylvia, you're close with one of our new subcontractors, Robert Turner. Apparently, he visits your office frequently, and you 2 lunch together daily. What's going on, Darlene? Jeff asked. Our company has a strict policy against workplace fraternization. Robert's an old college friend. We often spend time together. That's why Sylvia thinks Robert might be one of the men you were considering seeing during our separation. How far has your research gone? Jeff probed. Robert is just a friend. We've barely done anything, just talked. I think he might be someone I'd like to date. He's always kind to me and compliments me, even when I don't look my best. Anything more? Jeff pressed. Darlene's expression betrayed her as she remembered the elevator encounters. Did you do anything his wife wouldn't like? Wife? He's not married. Who told you that? Darlene exclaimed. I found out on his Facebook page, Jeff revealed after some online sleuthing. Is this the Robert Turner? Yes. What does his marital status say? It says he's married to Cynthia and has 2 sons, Darlene confessed. Maybe he's divorced now? The website was updated 3 days ago, and look at what his wife posted recently. They seem very much together. He never told me he was married. I would never intentionally break up a marriage. Seems you're okay with breaking up ours, though, Jeff retorted. A heavy silence fell. Darlene realized she was cornered and needed to think. Robert was the primary reason she was considering ending things, but she couldn't let Jeff know that. He was just one of several men I might consider dating. I can make a list, just like you. Oh my God, I just remembered something crucial. If we decide to stay married after the separation, we need to exchange medical reports to ensure we're both free of STDs, Jeff interjected, deliberately changing the subject. You're being disgusting right now, Darlene snapped. It's just a precaution. I wasn't really planning on dating anyone, especially since it's only for 90 days. But if I feel the urge, I can find someone. I'm sure you'd want to feel safe too. It's not just about you, it's about whomever you're intimate with, who they've been with, and so on. Jeff tried to hide his amusement at Darlene's discomfort. Okay, Dare, he said, continuing to steer the conversation. I'll keep you updated on what I've done to facilitate the separation process today. I have a lot to handle, most of which starts on the 1st. Dealing with bank and credit card accounts is a priority, so you have easy access to your funds. Sorting out the mortgage, utilities, and such can be handled within the next week or so. Oh, I have some good news on the financial front. Did I mention my secretary Jenny works as a night manager at the Royal Arms Apartments? They're conveniently located. They have a 2-bedroom available, but we need to act fast. Normally they're quite expensive, but she mentioned that if I become the building's maintenance supervisor, I can get a 50% discount on rent. That means more money for you and the kids. You haven't signed a lease, have you? Remember, we have 90 days, and if you play your cards right, you might just be coming back here. She considered mentioning the gold-digging secretary angle, but decided it would only escalate the situation. No, I haven't signed anything yet. I did have to explain why I was apartment hunting, though. She said they typically don't do month-to-month rentals, but for 90 days, she could probably make an exception. When Jenny learned about the divorce, she expressed interest in me. I was surprised, given the age difference and all. I had no idea she found me attractive. I politely declined, citing company policy about employees and managers dating. Jenny suggested she could find another job if that was the problem. That's why I mentioned it on the list. Darlene was seething, but she bit her tongue, knowing that voicing her thoughts would only make things worse. Without waiting for a response, Jeff continued, "Another piece of news you'll probably appreciate. I booked a 10-day trip to Hawaii. I was keeping it as a surprise for our 20th anniversary." Darlene's demeanor changed instantly. "Hawaii? Oh, Jeff, you know how much I've always wanted to go. This is amazing. I can't wait to relax on the beach and swim in the ocean. Thank you, thank you, thank you." However, Jeff's expression didn't mirror his wife's enthusiasm. "We won't be going to Hawaii. When you mentioned divorce, I realized we might not make it to our anniversary. I tried to cancel and get a refund, but they said it was too late, offering only 20% back. After some thought, I realized the Hawaii trip is more your dream than mine. I thought you might still want to go, so I asked them to change the tickets to you and a guest of your choosing. It could be a great start to your new relationship, an all-expenses-paid trip to Hawaii." "But Jeff, I wanted to go to Hawaii with you. We could postpone the separation. In fact, I'm considering calling the whole thing off. Now that I've had time to think, I'm not as unhappy as I thought. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dee, but I've given this a lot of thought. I don't think I could be content knowing the possibility of divorce is still out there. Even if you retract it now, I can't unhear what you said, and I can't erase the images in my mind of what you and Robert might have done. We weren't doing anything special. I'll likely proceed with the divorce regardless of what you decide. I can't imagine life without you, being only a part-time father to my girls." Jeff retreated to the upstairs guest room. Devastated, Darlene knew only one person to turn to, Miranda. "Hello, Darlene, what's wrong?" "Everything. Jeff found an apartment and his skinny secretary is already flirting with him. Even my sister wants to date him. The worst part is, he had tickets to Hawaii for our anniversary and he gave them to me, but he won't go. He said I could take my new boyfriend. So, what's the problem? You and Robert will have a blast. Sun, fun, and amazing sex." "No, I found out Robert is married. His wife and kids are moving here soon. I don't want to go to Hawaii with him. I want to go with Jeff." "Wait a minute," Miranda interjected. "I think I see what's happening. Jeff is more cunning than I gave him credit for. He claims he booked the trip ages ago. It was a ploy. To manipulate you, to make you feel guilty and stop the divorce. Don't worry. With your figure, you'll find boyfriends just as good, if not better, than Robert in no time. And you'll keep your marriage and family." "Oh my goodness, I never realized he could be so deceitful. He'll pay for this." "Thank you, Miranda. I was about to give up. He's going to regret this." "Let's talk later," Miranda said. When Jeff came downstairs, he had a small suitcase. "So, you're trying to make it look like you're moving out already?" "Don't worry, goodbye, and good riddance. Actually, I was just taking a few things over to avoid carrying too much at once and startling the girls. Jenny mentioned I could move some things in early since the apartment is empty anyway. Your demeanor has changed since earlier. Let me guess, you consulted your marriage guru? Miranda is a divorce expert, which is all you managed to be." "Don't insult Miranda. She's on my side. She saw through your Hawaii ticket scheme. You made that up to try and force me to give up. Nice try. I still want a divorce and can't wait to finalize it. There are plenty of guys out there who want me, who are willing to give me what I need." "You're absolutely right, especially about the attention you'll get. I'm sure you'll have plenty of offers once they realize you're available. I've always considered myself incredibly lucky to have such a beautiful woman, a fantastic partner in raising our children, and until recently, a faithful wife and lover." "You're wrong about the faithful part. The Hawaii trip, I can prove it. Just call Lois Simpson at Flightright Travel Agency. I'll dial her now." "Hi, Lois, it's Jeff Sinclair again. My wife is on speakerphone so you can fill her in on the trip details. She has a few questions." As expected, Darlene muttered. I'm so sorry you won't be able to go, Jeff. It sounds like you were really looking forward to surprising your wife and enjoying your vacation. What specifics do you need, Mrs. Sinclair? Could you please outline exactly what's included in this trip? Darlene demanded. Certainly. This is our 10-day two-island excursion. It includes accommodations at our top-rated hotels, meals, transportation, hula lessons, luau dinners, traditional tiki performances, opportunities for surfing, swimming, and dancing, all in a romantic setting. Many couples have found it a transformative experience for their marriage. When did my husband initially arrange this trip? Darlene asked, certain this would expose Jeff's lie. Let me check. According to our records, he first inquired about 3 months ago. He finalized the booking for this specific trip 2 months ago, with payment made 2 weeks after that. Yesterday, he contacted us to cancel, resulting in a 20% refund. I was surprised when he suggested you could still go and find another companion. That says a lot about the kind of husband he is. You're very fortunate. Any other questions? We'll need the other person's name for the flight tickets. No further questions. I'll get back to you with the name soon, Darlene replied. She tried to predict what Miranda would say about this new information. Then it clicked. You think you've outsmarted me again, don't you? You and Lois cooked up this Hawaii trip story before I even mentioned divorce. Well, I'm on to you. She felt proud of her deduction, achieved without Miranda's help. Jeff sighed heavily. You should talk to your parents. What do my parents have to do with this? Who do you think will watch the girls while we're away? Fine, let's call them, Darlene responded, caught off guard. No need to rush, dear. I'm already dialing, Jeff stated. But Jeff... Hello? Her mother answered, recognizing the number. Darlene, how are the girls? Glad you called. Hi, Mom, Darlene greeted hesitantly. Mom, this is Jeff, too. We're on speakerphone. Hold on, let me get Dad. Harold, it's Jeff and Darlene. Pick up, honey. What's going on, guys? Harold joined the conversation. When Darlene remained silent, Jeff spoke. Darlene knows now, so no need to keep it a secret. Son, we're sorry you can't go. You didn't say why when you called earlier. I hope it's not health-related. When you called this morning and said we wouldn't be needed to babysit for your Hawaii trip, we were disappointed. We were looking forward to having them for 10 days, and we felt bad for Darlene that you couldn't go with her. We know how much she wants to go, but she'd rather go with you than anyone else. Have you decided who you're taking, Darlene? It'll be hard on whoever stays behind, her father commented. No, Mom, I haven't decided yet. How long ago did Jeff discuss this Hawaii trip with you? I'm not sure, Harold. Do you remember? It was around New Year's, wasn't it? I'm almost positive. 2 or 3 months ago. He mentioned it early so we could stock up on snacks. Those two can eat anything and never gain an ounce. Jeff? Darlene? Her mother's voice was laced with concern. Is everything all right with Darlene? Why are you asking when Jeff talked to us? Did something happen between you two? Oh God, did you break up? No, Mom, not exactly. We decided we needed some space, some time apart to recharge our marriage and then maybe reconcile. Dar, I'm not going to lie to your parents. They've always been honest with me, Jeff interjected. Mom, Darlene began. I didn't mean to cause alarm. What I meant was, the first step in the divorce process is a 90-day separation. I hope this time will help me find myself, explore new opportunities, and better myself so I can be a better wife and mother. And that's coming from you, Mom, Harold exclaimed. I know liberal lies when I hear them. Darlene, do you have a boyfriend? No, Dad, no, not at all. Jeff considered speaking up but held back. Harold continued, while his wife sobbed in the background. I can't believe you do this. We raised you better. I'm so disappointed. Don't expect us to be polite to your new man, Darlene. We're so sorry, Jeff. At least promise us you'll let us see our grandchildren after the divorce. Amidst sobs, Darlene interrupted before Jeff could respond. Jeff has blown this whole thing out of proportion. I take it back. No divorce, no separation. I'll talk to you later when everything calms down. Seeing Darlene in tears, Jeff said gently, You need to compose yourself. The girls will be home soon. He grabbed his suitcase and headed for the door. Where are you going? Didn't you hear? I don't want a divorce. You don't have to go anywhere, she pleaded. You unilaterally declared you wanted a divorce without talking to me first. Now you think you can unilaterally declare we won't get divorced because things aren't going your way? You don't seem to understand that I have a voice. After what I've learned about you this past week, I'm not sure giving up on this divorce is a good idea. I'll grab a sleeping bag from the garage and stay at the apartment tonight, Dad. Jeff, please don't go. I'm sorry. You said it was fine before I brought up this nonsense about wanting a divorce. Can't we just forget it and go back to how things were? You said you were happy, I was happy too. But you admitted you weren't happy and planned to have an affair with Robert. Like I said, you've already committed adultery. Sally mentioned she could easily draft the divorce papers since it's standard stuff. She might even serve them tomorrow. I won't sign them, Darlene retorted. That doesn't matter. All Sally needs to do is ensure you're officially served. She might do it at your workplace to have plenty of witnesses. Perhaps even Robert could claim alienation of affection. I could even sue your boss for violating company policy, but that's going too far. I need you to be able to provide for the girls after the divorce. Informing Robert's wife should be sufficient payback. Why are you being so cruel? I love you, and you love me. Is there anything I can do to fix this? You said divorce would be hard on both of us. Don't you want to avoid that pain? I promise I'll never mention divorce again. Please stay. Let's work this out, Darlene pleaded, tears streaming down her face. Jeff remained silent and still. Darlene felt a glimmer of hope. I'll be the best wife in the world. I won't even look at another man. I've given you almost 20 years of a strong marriage, 2 wonderful children, and supported your business, even when it meant you came home late and covered in grime. I'm so proud of your success. Everyone makes mistakes. Please give me another chance. Finally, Jeff responded. I'll tell you what. I'll take my suitcase and sleeping bag to the apartment. I want you to write down a few things. Your words and actions have hurt me more than you realize. If your responses meet my expectations, I'll consider calling this off, or at least postponing it. I'll be back by 7. You might want to send the girls to their grandparents' or a friend's house so we can talk freely. Yes, thank you. What should I write? First, I expect an apology for instigating this whole situation, and I want you to plead no, beg for my forgiveness. Second, tell Robert to stop contacting you, and warn him that if he persists, there will be repercussions. Tell him I can take legal action against him and your company. Third, list all the reasons why I should stay married to you. Lastly, call Miranda and tell her you never want to speak to her again. This is non-negotiable. If I hear about Miranda influencing you again, I'll leave immediately. Do you understand what I'm asking? If you want any chance of saving our marriage? Yes, dear, I think so. I'll do everything, and I'll be ready by 7. Very well, see you then. Jeff picked up his suitcase and left. Darlene focused on the last task, mentally rehearsing what she would say to Miranda. Listening to you was the worst mistake of my life. Because of you, I almost lost everything I hold dear. Do not contact me again, by call, text, email, or even thought. If I see you in public, stay away from me. I won't be responsible for my actions. Surprised by the sense of relief she felt after confronting Miranda in her mind, Darlene called Robert and relayed Jeff's instructions. She recounted Jeff's desperate plea to meet one last time at the motel, his insults, and his accusations of her inadequacy. She shut him down, threatening to involve his wife if he caused any further trouble. The supposedly difficult task of listing reasons for Jeff to stay turned out to be the easiest. Liberated from the desire for something more than what she had with Jeff, Darlene reflected on their shared joys. She compiled a heartfelt list, hoping it would sway him. She expressed remorse for her divorce ruse. I was so foolish, self-centered, and presumptuous. Never again. As 7 o'clock approached, Darlene felt prepared and confident. But when the hour arrived and Jeff hadn't returned, a flicker of worry ignited. 5 minutes later, he reappeared, without his luggage, his expression unchanged. Darlene, striving for compassion and humility, handed him her responses. Here are my answers. I hope you reconsider. Jeff stared at the list for a long time. As he read, tears welled up in his eyes. Seeing him cry, Darlene started to weep too, interpreting his tears as a sign of hope. Dar, this is really impressive, he said. Hopeful, Darlene rose to hug him, but he gestured for her to stay seated. Your effort is commendable, but I'm not sure you fully understand the pain you've caused. I'm afraid I have to proceed with the divorce. Darlene was devastated. It felt as if her heart had shattered. Collapsing to the floor, she sobbed uncontrollably, her grief overwhelming. I've ruined my family. I'm the worst person alive. I don't deserve to live. How could I have been so stupid? Jeff knelt beside her, whispering, Now you understand how I felt. As Darlene continued to cry, Jeff moved towards the door, then paused, looking back. During our separation, are we allowed to see other people? Overcome with emotion, Darlene struggled to speak through her tears. If seeing other people is permitted, what are your plans for Friday night? Would you like to have dinner and see a movie? You're asking me out on a date? Darlene exclaimed. I think we've irrevocably changed our old relationship, but perhaps We can start a new one." Renewed hope surged through Darlene. She rushed towards Jeff. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes!